Hey, welcome to On the Nose. This week we get caught up with Tyler Holmes. Technically, it's going to be this week and next week because there's a part one and part two. Uh, we talk about kind of everything, including our plans for the year and some health stuff and just everything. I hope you'll stick around and hang out with us. And if there's ever anything that you want me to talk about or questions you have for guests, because I'm more than happy to have people come back, you can always email me at onlenose@leighe.com. That's onlenose at leighe.com. Unfortunately, because I'm not hosting through Spotify, if people leave comments on my Spotify episodes, I don't get them. I can't get access to them. So I've had a few and I have no idea what they said. You need to email or comment on the YouTube videos but email will get to me instantly and comments on YouTube, same idea. So either way, I am very easy to reach. And I hope that everybody has been having a good week. And I hope that this upcoming weekend will be relaxing, refreshing, interesting, fun, titillating, whatever it is that you want from your weekend. I hope that you get it. I'm having a hot flash.
Oh no.
I've just been like the last couple of days, like every time I get warm, I can't like unwarm.
Ugh,
I've read that can be a thing with the gallbladders too.
mine was getting really bad and they got a lot better after that. And then just when I'm having like the gastroparesis is really bad, then I get hot flashes still, but they're not as bad anymore. They need to take that thing out of you.
Yeah, they need to respond to the test. I haven't fucking heard anything like at
It's
all.
been it's been a while too. I mean, I get we had holidays, but
They could have at minimum been like, we're out for the holidays. We'll catch up with you on the first or something. But nothing. Like, and I've emailed twice and they have like their response policies like 48 hours. So the fact that like if it takes a week, you're supposed to complain.
yeah, I complain. Ugh. I didn't bring all of my drinks over today.
I my friend was like, you should try prune juice and coffee. I've heard it's really good. Well, I don't really like fruit juice because it's too sweet for me. And now my coffee is it's not a bad flavor. It's almost chocolatey. It's but that's what makes Guinness taste chocolatey is the prune juice.
I did
So
not know that. I
yeah,
didn't know
so
they.
like in Ireland, if you're like constipated or whatever, they're like, go have a Guinness because it'll make you poop. But but it's too sweet for me, so like that's why every time I take a drink, but I don't want to waste the coffee or the prune juice, so I'm just gonna drink it. And
I feel like I'd be going running to the bathroom if I was drinking that.
yeah, coffee doesn't have that effect on my gut, and prune juice is like takes about 12 hours.
Okay.
So
That's yeah. Coffee does have that effect on my gut. So
I'm hoping that means like after my gallbladder's out that I can still have coffee because I know some people can't do caffeine after they have their gallbladder out. But my gut's pretty like it's slow and lazy and non-responsive to most things. So I feel like I'll probably be okay.
yeah, I am fine. I do go like it does have more of that effect on me now after my gallbladder. So I kind of I don't hate it because then I know like, okay, I'm gonna clean myself out now.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice to have like I read a study that said that women specifically report having slightly better or more regular bowel movements after they have their gallbladder removed. So I was like, okay.
Wouldn't be the worst thing.
Yeah, since my gut's so lazy, it's just
Lazy gut.
look how like I'm all pink. I look like I'm wearing
Ah,
makeup because I'm all shiny.
I'm just pink.
And my collarbones are starting to show again. So I think I've lost like 15 pounds now.
Wow. That's rough. I mean, I know that you're not unhealthy losing 15 pounds, but that's a lot to lose in that amount of time though.
Yeah, it's been like 6 weeks or something. And I mean, I've been trying really hard to keep like healthy food in,
Mhm.
even though I know it might be like making my symptoms worse, but I only eat like, I think I mentioned I eat like a quarter to a half a cup of oatmeal, and then I have like a half a cup of quinoa mixed with like chicken and a vegetable, and that's all I can. Literally, if I eat more than that, it causes an increase in my symptoms versus it just kind of staying the same. So
For I found for me that if I eat mashed potatoes, it helps me.
I should
I,
try that.
I think it absorbs the extra stomach acid or something, and then
Yeah.
helps it.
Well, that was part of the reason why I was eating like the oatmeal and the quinoa, besides the fact that stuff I eat anyways, is because the fiber helps absorb like the bile.
Hmm.
Um, so I was like, well, if I'm having too much bile come out, maybe that will help. And like I am not liquidizing my insides as much. So it does seem to be helping with that a little bit, but I don't know.
That's good.
So
Yeah.
I set it to just record, and then I'm just gonna do like an intro like later and like attach it. Just
Sounds
FYI.
good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And if like the beginning it doesn't work, I'll just cut it out or whatever. But just in case you're wondering, I'm gonna try that, see how it goes. And so happy New Year
Happy New Year.
and welcome
Uh,
back to my podcast.
I'm so excited to be back, and I'm so excited to see you. It's been too long. We've
I
both been so
know.
sick.
I know. I was like, I kept thinking about being like, maybe we should just call and like have do a Facebook call, not
Yeah,
record it. And then it was just, I'm so tired that I like, I'll think about it and then I'm like, oh, I gotta take a nap. Like I literally like when my body says it's time to nap. I was at my friend's house and we went out and did something and then I was like, I don't I don't feel good. And literally got to his house, curled up on the couch, and just went to sleep. I didn't say a word. I was just like out for an hour, and then I felt better. It's like my body right now is like I'm working hard. I'm
it
gonna sleep.
is.
Yeah, I'm
It's
like,
even when you're asleep, it's working. So
yeah, I'm like 2 naps a day plus broken sleep at night, and
that's the hard thing. It's like during the day, I'm so tired, and then at night, I can't sleep. And it's this pattern. I mean, last night, though, I think I went laid down at like 9, and then Liam woke me up at 10:30 and was like, "You can't just be asleep on New Year's." So I got up and I played a game with him at like 10:30 until 11. I was like, "Okay, it's New York New Year's. I can go to bed."
yeah, I went to bed at like 10 to midnight. I was like, whatever. I watched my British crime dramas. I taught my son how to play Yahtzee earlier in the day. Plus, we tried a game that he got for Christmas. We discovered it's not fun when there's only 3 people because you're basically always ganging up on somebody.
Yeah.
Um, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to sleep. So I started hearing the fireworks just as I like conked out. I actually like pass out at night. I can like sleep, take a nap, get up, and then go to bed and sleep. Like that's how tired I am. But the symptoms wake me up
Yeah.
like every day at the same time of however long I've been in bed. So if I went to bed at 11, they would wake me up at like 4:30 or 5. If I go to bed at midnight, they wake me up at like 6 or whatever. It's like something about laying down
And the amount of
makes it.
time you're laying down. Yeah, laying down is horrible for me too. My gastroparesis is acting up again. So I slept with two pillows and this guy behind me. Oh, and this one behind me. So I'd like stay up last night because I kept waking
Yeah,
up choking.
dude. Yeah, I did sleep in a chair for about a month, and then I'm now back to laying down just because like the chair helped a little bit, but I still
Mhm.
had a lot of pressure on my backside, so it was still causing issues. And then it was causing like blood to like pool in my butt, so then it was like giving me hemorrhoids, and I was like,
Oh, that's
well,
horrible.
that's not helpful. So as soon as I was able to lay down in bed again, I started doing that. And sorry for people that are freaked out by the word hemorrhoid, but it happens to almost everybody because we all live very sedentary lifestyles and don't eat enough fiber.
We
So
sit in the car for way too long.
yeah. Well, so you either sit too long or you stand too long. Both of those things would get you, plus not eating enough fiber.
Knock on wood, but I've actually never had hemorrhoids. I thought I did when I was pregnant, and they checked me and they're like, nope, that's not
That's
what's going
good.
on. And
You're
I'm like, what's
lucky.
going on then? Uh, but I don't know. And I'm shocked. I'm shocked that I have not. I probably will, having being in a wheelchair part-time and like,
Yeah. I mean, they're like, there's different kinds, and like some are worse than others and easier to manage. But like,
yeah.
because I had congestion syndrome and I didn't know that. And that was actually what was causing mine. And when I got treatment for that, they got a lot better, but they never, once you've stretched the tissue out, they never fully go away. So they're there, but for the most part, I don't have issues with them anymore since my hysterectomy. But like, I mean, I went through like years. I even got surgery for them because they were so bad. And it ends up that if I had just been diagnosed with the congestion syndrome, I wouldn't have had to go through
Mhm.
that surgery. And of course, I went through the surgery and had like every complication you can imagine, including severe blood loss, where I had to be in the hospital for 2 days and stuff like that. So it was like completely traumatic and um like yeah. And I literally like later when I learned about congestion syndrome, it ends up like all the symptoms I was complaining to them about, they're not even hemorrhoid symptoms or congestion syndromes. They symptoms, and they were just like, they're just like, yeah, we can cut you open.
Usually, unless it's something you really, really want them to do.
They didn't even
Oh,
listen to what I was saying, they were just happy to cut.
that's ridiculous. Yeah, I'm hoping because my surgeon, I haven't talked to the actual surgeon I'm meeting with on the 17th, but I talked to their nurse, and it sounds like they're going to push for the surgery I want, but they don't know if my insurance is going to cover it. But I have so from the biopsy, I can feel a scar all the way across, like on the
Hmm.
inside, and it's like pulling on my nip, and it hurts
Wow.
so bad. Like the pain from the actual biopsy went away, but that pain now, it's like pulling on it. And
uh,
oh,
that sounds awful.
so I don't know if it's the EDS causing the scar tissue to be like that or what's going on, because usually it doesn't scar like
Yeah,
that.
very possible. I know I have scar tissue in my leg from where I broke it,
Mhm.
and it's it's not as bad now, but when I was younger and it was really bad, like it would cause my calf muscle to just
Oh.
walk, and I couldn't walk for a few days, and I started getting it like worked out with a physical therapist where they would go in and try to break it up, which is
Mhm.
incredibly painful, but it would help. And occasionally though I can feel it, like my calf will really bother me and I'll be like, pesky scar tissue.
I hate you.
Like, leave me be. So how's your
Yeah.
wrist?
My wrist is better. So the pain is better. I never had to put a hard cast on, thankfully. I still have the soft one here, and they told me to wear it at night because that's when you bend, which I already wear stuff for my carpal tunnel at night. So,
Yeah.
but I wear that one so that my thumb can't move at night. But my fingers are numb, like it's asleep. Like I could feel, but it's like it fell asleep. And
That doesn't, yeah.
I think it's swollen like from my carpal tunnel from what happened, and it might have made
Yeah.
that worse.
So where did you break it?
Right here. So it's right above the thumb. So when it doesn't hurt anymore when I move my thumb, but I wasn't able to move my thumb for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's feeling better. It doesn't hurt, so that's good.
Yeah. Does the numbness get better if you like ice or take it to take the inflammation down or
It does for a little bit when I ice it, but usually it's when I'm driving that it goes numb. It's as soon as my arms are up at all.
ah
When it's down like this, it'll come back.
yeah.
So,
Any for me, like anywhere, or if I have my arms like forward that causes my shoulders to rotate forward, I get like burning nerve pain down my arms. I've
mhm,
had that since like 2005, and it's apparently from my neck, from the because I was hit by a car and my neck got jacked up, and so I have like the stenosis and all that. But all of these years, every doctor I saw said no, your neck couldn't cause that pain. And then when I saw the neurosurgeon last year, he's like, "Well, do your arms hurt?" And I was like, "Yes."
oh, I love it. I love when they just don't know. Like my doctors, they all know I have EDS and continued to give me those medications that make it worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know I had EDS the last time I took Cipro, but now like I would be like, can we find another one? Unfortunately, Cipro's like the one that I tolerate the best. Like it doesn't give me
Mm-hmm.
nausea and like I'm not allergic to it. Like, like doxycycline is another one that I'm not allergic to, but I have to take an anti-nausea medication with it.
Yep.
And then I can't take what's the anti-nausea medication that
Mm,
is
Zofran.
yeah, I can't take Zofran because it causes impaction. So if I was going
Mm-hmm.
to take Zofran, I would have to take it with like a stool softener. So then it's like I'm
Just
taking
as
like,
all of the.
yeah, a suitcase of medication. So then I take it with Phenergan instead, which is like an old school antihistamine, and it causes sedation. So when I had to take doxycycline, I had to take it for like a month for something. I um I just slept. Like I
I
would
had to
get like,
I had to
yeah.
take it for a month too when I got Lyme disease.
Yeah, I had gotten pneumonia from somebody on an airplane, and that's what triggered my chronic fatigue syndrome. And it's the type of pneumonia that can hide in the cells in your lungs,
Oh my
and
gosh.
it can be the regimen is actually 6 months to a year on the antibiotic to treat it. But like I couldn't get past, I
Oh,
could
it's
not.
terrible. I
Yeah.
was I was working at Caribou back then. I was working 7 days a week taking that, and I felt horrible.
Mhm.
It almost felt like when I was pregnant with Evelyn, which I was so sick when I was pregnant with her, and it was very similar. And I'm like, and I'm not even gonna have a baby at the end of this.
Right. Yeah, I
But
I
yeah.
uh I was working at the same time, and I kept like being like, "Oh, I'm gonna work from home," and I would like call into meetings and stuff, and then just be like, "Oh, like the only thing that kind of helped the nausea is if I ate a an entire muffin from Costco, except that that was when my gastroparesis was really, really bad. So I literally could only eat like a small piece at a time. And so I was like choking down, and my esophagus wasn't working right. So I was like choking
Mhm.
down this food to try to like, you know, it was,
Our bodies are so fun.
yeah. Like,
Oh, yeah. What really sucked is so they put me on that three separate times for a month, and then they would have me off of it for 2 or 3 months, test me again for Lyme, and then put me on it for another month because I tested positive still for having it. And I had to do it three separate times, and then they were going to do it the fourth time, and I'm like, I'm not again, never again. No,
yeah.
thank you. I'd rather have the Lyme disease. So yeah, I have chronic Lyme. But yeah, and I feel like the Lyme, when I was able to be really active, it didn't really affect me at all, but it did make the EDS and the POTS worse and the MCAS worse. And now that I'm not as active, I feel like the Lyme is now getting worse, so it's making the other things even worse. And I'm just in
Yeah.
this cycle of flare-ups from all of them. So,
Yeah. Well, hopefully, like you can get the surgery and like just take that stress from your body once you're able to
yeah.
heal, because just having that chronic infection has got to be like kicking your immune system's ass.
Yeah, and now the infection's spreading because when they did the biopsy, there was like a sac or that my body had created around where the infection was, so it was pretty contained just in that area. And then they punctured through it when they did the biopsy, and so then I had a worse infection. I had to take another antibiotic.
I don't even understand why this isn't like considered an emergency situation, because like if it got bad enough, you could get sepsis or something. It's
Yeah,
pretty serious.
and I don't get fevers as easily as other people. And so they get really concerned because they'll say that there's nothing wrong with me because I don't have a fever, but I don't usually get them. So, I
Yeah.
mean, my body runs really cold. So if I'm at 99, I actually have a pretty bad
I'm the same.
fever.
I'm the same way.
I'm
So
at usually like in the 96 to 97 range. And so when it's 99, I'm feeling miserable.
did you know that they actually think that we're supposed to be like around like 97 or so, and they think that like during the period of time in which we like came up with a normal temperature was when people were just being exposed to so much more crap and stuff, and so people just had higher temperatures. And so now there's like this sort of like area of study where they're like, is this the norm? Or it's an interesting thought that our norm could be actually wrong.
Yeah, yeah. And we're still being exposed to a lot of stuff. So it could be that some people's temperatures are higher because they are fighting off all these things, and then us who our bodies are not trying to fight it
Yeah, I know my body's lazy. I
off.
like I was like reading a thing about like MCAS and how like if you have like really bad fatigue and stuff, but you get exposed to something and your immune system actually gets triggered, all of a sudden you have
Mhm.
more energy because your immune system just isn't fighting what's going on in your body. And so once the immune system gets triggered, it actually makes everything better for a while. And I'm just like, great.
All right, bring on the colds.
Yeah. Ugh,
Like the
no.
not really bad ones, though, the just a little
Yeah.
sniffly, but you can still breathe.
Yeah, the last mild cold that I got took me 3 weeks to kick it.
It takes so long. I like the kids will get something, they'll give it to me, of course, and theirs is gone in like a day or two, and I'm 4 weeks later still
Yeah.
going through. I probably have given Kleenex, I don't know how much money,
Yeah.
sleeping with toilet paper up my nose.
God, I hate that. I turn into it. Well, I don't really turn into a baby, but I feel like a baby when I like get sick because I don't really externalize the babiness, but on the inside of my head, I'm like, wah. I hate it.
Uh, yeah, I used to be better about it when the kids were younger and I had to be. And now that they're older, it can take care of me. I'm just
Yeah.
like, can you bring me my soup?
I also had to learn how to be sick because I was not raised to be allowed
Hmm.
to be sick. Like I'd basically get punished. So, um, and my mom would not believe that I was actually sick. So it wasn't like I see these memes where they're like being sick in the 80s is like 7 Up and like watching TV stuff. And I was like, oh no, I wasn't allowed, because my mom didn't want me to be, if I was faking it, to be allowed
Hmm.
to enjoy my day.
Yeah.
So I remember just the only time like she really believed me is if I was actively like throwing up and she was kind of inconvenienced. And
Oh,
I would just
mine
end up
mine convinced I just chewed up food and spit it in the toilet,
yeah,
but I
well, I
didn't
used to do
really
that
throw
when I
up.
didn't like food. I used to well, just like I'd chipmunk it and then you know, hoping I would get away with it. But yeah, I used to sleep on the floor if I was nauseous by the toilet
Mhm.
because when I was little, I throw up in my sleep. And I would get in trouble for that. So I learned to like lay on the floor, and it never dawned on me that I could like throw up in a bowl or a garbage can until I was an adult and I drank too much. And my friend was like, "Well, here's a garbage can." I was like, because I was gonna go lay on the floor, and they're like, and I was like, "What? I could be comfortable and sick? What?" Like,
That's oh my gosh. Yeah, I remember getting in trouble for throwing up from my stepmom. Uh, I got up in the middle of the night and was walking towards the bathroom and threw up. And she's like, "You knew that you would be able to get there in time. You should have left your bed earlier." And like, I'm like, "Are you
yeah.
kidding me?" She also would sniff me when I got out of the shower to make sure I used soap. So, she's a winner.
Yeah. My mom would touch the dishes to make sure that I was using like hot water when I was rinsing them, except that like by the time she'd get in there and I was so slow at washing dishes because I had like a whole game and the spoons for families and all this stuff,
I
they would
love
be
it.
cold.
The spoons
Yeah.
are families.
So I would get in trouble for not using the hot water, but like the dishes are cold because I'd been in there for an hour. Like they'd also feel the top of the TV to see if it was warm when they got home from work to make sure I wasn't using it.
Oh my gosh. That sounds like my stepmom. She also, oh, I remember this one time she sniffed me and told me I didn't smell like soap, and I had definitely used soap. And she goes in there, she goes, "Why is the soap is all at the bottom? You didn't use it." And I was like, "It's clear. It's a clear bottle." And I was like, "I used it." And then I stayed in the shower and like because I'd put the shampoo in and wash my body, and then I'd use the conditioner. And she'd get so mad at me for doing that. Or I'd wash my body while the conditioner was like soaking in my hair. That's what it was.
That's
And
efficient.
so, yeah, it is efficient. And so
And
it'd
then you
be like,
moisturize your body after.
yeah. So it'd be like 10 minutes from the time that I put it in my hand to the time that I like got out and then got dry and like everything got dressed. And so she went and looked at it, and so she like turned it over, and then I like timed it. And this was the first time, only time I ever talked back to her. So I waited, and it was like 10 minutes later because she was like, see, it doesn't just go down to the bottom. So I waited 10 minutes. I'm like, look at it now.
That's I that attitude, that like that sense of injustice. It didn't matter if I was gonna get like hit. I had always had to like, I would be like, this is not fair because of this, and I would like be backing up as they're coming at me, but I would still be yelling at them, like, and I never like lost that like, you know, um
Yeah.
fire or whatever to like stand up. Even it was just like I was like, pain, whatever, I gotta say
Yeah.
what I gotta say.
I got used to the spankings. It was
Yeah.
fine. My stepmom wasn't physical, only my mom was, but it yeah, my dad and stepmom didn't believe in spanking, but my mom and stepdad sure did. And I was
Yeah,
with them a lot more.
it was the opposite for me. Like at my dad's house, my stepmom didn't do spanking, but at my mom's house they did. And
Mhm.
but my dad did do spanking when I was really little, and he would use a belt, and I refused to talk to him or visit him after he hit me for something that I didn't even do. Like he hit me several times with a belt, and after that I wouldn't visit him, and I was like 5 or something, and I was just like, fuck that guy, you know. And
Yeah.
after that he didn't ever do that again. But I think my stepmom probably, because they hadn't been together very long when that happened, and I think like she might have like been like, yeah, don't do that again, you know.
Yeah. I don't spank my kids, but uh and then people are like, well, maybe that's why Liam gets in trouble.
No, the studies have shown that if you hit your kids it makes it worse.
He's not physically violent. He just trespasses and goes to cool places that you're not supposed to go, like a teenager does, but
Yep.
uh and then steals. Well,
Yeah.
used to steal. That hasn't done that in a long time, but um in middle school, or yeah, he's in high school now, but in middle school he would steal things, and I think he's grown out of that.
Hopefully
Hopefully.
it's getting close to the adult being tried as an adult age, so
Yeah. Yeah. And the funny thing is we have court the 8th of this month, I think, for a theft that he had 2 years ago. I'm
that's the
like,
one
how
that
are you
he had
gonna
like the probation or whatever, and then the probation got like because of
this
the other
is
thing, or is it something
so
else?
yes. So the probation, so it was he had a stay of adjudication, and then if he got in trouble again, then all the stuff charges would come back. So he got in trouble again, but it was actually before the probation that this event even happened. I'm like, if you would have told them about this, it would have just been part of that probation. And like, and then he had the trespassing charges after that. Um, but yeah,
Those
this
trust
that
the trespassing charges are so bogus, in my
oh,
opinion.
and let me tell you an injustice of these trespassing charges, not towards him. There's a lot of kids with these same trespassing charges because it's the bike shop in town that has cameras everywhere, and kids like to climb up on the roof and look at the lights and like just hang out on top of the roof because the roofs are flat. So, a lot of kids got in trouble. Like they gave over the footage from their cameras after they put them up, and the police found all the children because it's a small town that had gone up there. One child out of I think it's over 20 children that have charges for trespassing has attempted burglary. Didn't do anything different. Anything. Guess what color their skin is?
Not white.
Not white. And he's the only not white one, or white passing one, because Liam's not white either, but only one, and has attempted burglary charges, and the rest all just have trespassing.
Such bullshit.
And the same attorney, I think, has all the children for this case and all their cases, and is fighting that one really hard because they're like, I know what you did, like what you charged the other kids with. And
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard to like show the pattern and be like, why isn't this kid getting charged the same as, you know,
yeah, I
the
think
other
he's
kids?
trying that the attorney's trying to countersue for racism or prejudice. I forget what they're charging for, but trying to countersue the shop, and I'll stand behind them.
Oh yeah. I mean, they really just like the kids should all get like smacks on their hands, and if the business really doesn't like it, they can put up a little fence on their roof.
They put up razor wire,
Oh, well,
which
better.
I don't think is even legal. They put up razor
Yeah.
wire.
Is it in Texas?
No, this is in Marshall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say if it's Texas, it probably is legal, but
I tried to see I saw conflicting things, but I don't think it's legal to put that on your roof.
yeah.
But but yeah, I don't even know how the kids were getting up there.
Yeah.
It's really high up. I don't know if they were bringing a ladder or what they were doing, but
Just a bunch of monkeys.
and the funny thing is they're not only climbing up on the bike shop because it's a bunch of businesses attached to each other on Main Street, and they're climbing up from the bike shop to the roofs of the other shops, but only the bike shop is charging them the trespassing. The other shops don't
Eddie.
really care.
It's like a bicycle shop.
Hmm.
I guess they don't want any business because, like, if I was a kid in that town, I'd be like, I ain't getting my bike. I'm gonna go to fucking Walmart. Like,
Right, right. And they're
fuck
so
them.
expensive. And like ordering online now, I know it's terrible, but ordering online, it's so much cheaper for the exact same thing. So it's hard
Yeah,
to, like, I like supporting small businesses, but
not
it's
that
hard.
one.
It's not that one, but it's hard when it's double the price to go there for the exact same thing. It's really hard to justify in this economy.
Yeah. Oh, well, with our incomes, like, yeah, yeah. There's a comic book store in Benicia that I really like. It's like women owned and really cool. And like, go there. When I used to live in Vallejo, we used to go there pretty regularly. Like on the Pokemon community days, we'd go to Benicia, catch Pokemon, then swing by. And I always take my friends there, and they would like buy books, but I can't really afford to buy books there. So like, because their stuff is like marked up way more than I could handle, and most of my graphic novels are gifted to me, or I use my Amazon points to get them anyways. But yeah, I'd go in and like feel bad, but I felt good like bringing business that everyone I know would always buy something there, and you know,
That's good. Yeah. I mean, it's understandable. I like buying off of like from friends, like things that they make. Like if you're actually making things, and that's different because that's not the same thing you're going to get the
yeah,
exact same item.
yeah. Oh,
Or like natural, like there's a place here that makes their own soaps and stuff. And I like to go there because they don't have any preservatives or anything in them. And I know exactly what the ingredients are.
yeah, that's nice. I can only use Cetaphil. See, like on my body. That's it. And then I make my own hand soap that I put in the pump, just using Castile soap and like water,
Mhm.
but that's just for my hands. And that's like I've been using Cetaphil since I was like 20, and if they ever go away, I don't know how I'm going to use because I haven't found anything my skin tolerates
Uh,
besides that.
Johnson and Johnson just bought out the company I could use for my shampoo and conditioner. So now I'm trying to find a new one because they're changing the formula.
Oh no, that's rude.
Yep, it was all
So
natural and it won't be anymore.
speaking of people making stuff,
Hey, you make
how's
things.
I know I make stuff. What's going on with my gift? Like, if
I
they,
know.
I don't even know what it is, but I'm like, what is it?
I just actually bugged him yesterday about it because he posted something new that he made and I was like
Yeah, dude, you gotta, that orders come first, y'all.
"Ah." Yeah, and we were doing partial trade and then I paid for the rest of it. So I haven't sent their stuff out because mine's not done yet.
Yeah,
So
that's funny.
I was like, okay. And I ordered two things from him, and I ordered one for me and one for you, and they kind of go together.
Are we gonna be matching?
We're gonna be, there's not wearable, but we'll be matching. But I'm like, even if you like just, I don't know. I don't know. I get that he's doing it by hand and that it takes time and you have to be inspired, but come on.
Yeah. Well, so I make things and I sell things, And when somebody orders something from me, that becomes the priority. That's where my dopamine is. And I feel like, I don't know if it's just I have like a really strong work ethic or whatever, but like it doesn't matter if I don't even feel like doing it. As soon as like someone asks me for something, I got to do it. It's like,
I know.
you know, so I don't understand the putting off something that you've already made an agreement to make. It's just not.
Un Unless he had other things already lined up that he was making, because they are commissioned things that he's still making. So
Yeah.
it's possible that I'm
He's
just in
just
line.
backlogged.
Yeah,
Yeah. But he
because
could
the
communicate that. Words.
I'm gonna bug him again today.
Yeah. Be like, hey, hey. Yeah, I'm like,
Hey,
I'm waiting to find out about my furnace because it left my RV on Thursday and I still haven't heard from the RV tech about when he's bringing it back. And I'm like,
luckily it
hey,
hasn't been a freezing cold winter, but
yeah. Well, it was freezing a couple weeks ago. So thankfully it's been getting down to like the low 40s, but
it's
I
still cold. That's
yeah, and
not
I don't like
comfortable.
using an area heater all the time. I like to use the area heater to sort of supplement the furnace.
And they
Since
use a
I'm
lot more power.
yeah, since I'm well, it's not even because the house that I'm plugged into has like solar and stuff. I'm just worried about safety, you
Mm,
know, like just because
overloading.
because I'm on a 15 amp circuit, so I'm like running everything. I have to be really careful. I always make sure I turn off the heater before I do like make coffee or use the microwave or that kind of thing. It's like a whole thing. I would love to have a proper hookup because a proper hookup for my RV is a 50 amp, and I would never use that much power, like but that's like a whole. And I was like looking it up, and most places it's like $200 to get it set up, which would be totally worth it. But like it's California, I'd probably have to get permits. It's not.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it would be like thousands of dollars to do that. So
I saw someone selling a plot of land in California. It has, they were calling it two dwellings on the property. One of them was a motorhome, like a
mhm.
legit motorhome. But they were like, this one's a studio. And I'm like, that's a motorhome. It's not a studio. And then it had like a tiny home on it, which is 2 bedroom. And it said it has room for 12 more tiny homes. And it's like the small plot of land. I'm like, you're just gonna plop a bunch of tiny homes.
Yeah, and depending on
It was already zoned, or they already had gotten the approval from the city to do it wherever it was at.
okay, because like most places don't allow for things to be that congested. So that's why I was like, I wonder where it's located that they were allowing for that.
It was like an acre and a half, I think. So if they were very tiny homes, you could have space.
Yeah. I don't like I wouldn't want to live in a tiny, tiny home. Like a small home, yes, but like a tiny home is like that's a vacation spot. You don't like you stop there for like a week and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna go stretch my legs now.
I feel like I could do, it would still need to be bigger than some of these tiny homes, but I could do like a loft bed at the top and then have like the living space underneath. If it was just me and have that space that I could be in, but I'd still want like a, what do they call them? A she shed
Yeah,
to
that's
do,
yeah. I
to
like
do the crafts.
I could be in a space that's about the size of the RV, especially if it had like a loft, but like um I mean literally like almost everything that's in here is like crafting related. That's what's taking up all the space. But I also have all that shit in storage. So, it's only the crafting stuff is prioritized for taking up space. So
Yeah.
I would definitely have to have like a work shed so that I could go in there and do stuff. And it would need to be insulated and
Mhm.
have speakers in it. And
My mom's doing that right now. So she has a shed already there, like on concrete, and it has power and everything. She's getting a bathroom put in and making it in and insulating it and making it into a little tiny, tiny home
nice.
to rent out in California.
Well, there's
Uh,
money in it here. So
yeah, I think she rents out rooms for over 1,000 a month
yeah.
in her house, and I'm like, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
'Cause I,
When I was a landlord, I was renting out rooms for about like 800 a month. This was like years ago in the city of Richmond, which is like very low like income area. And I was asking under market because I didn't feel good charging market prices.
Yeah.
And it yeah, like most places it's more like if I wanted to rent a room somewhere, I would be paying like 1,500 easily, just plus utilities and everything. And
Hmm.
that's like, my income 1,600 a month. So
Yeah. I charge 500 for a room, and then he can also work off some of it by doing yard work.
nice. That's a pretty good deal.
But my whole basement, renting that out, I was going to charge 1,100, but it's a two-bedroom with a kitchen and a bathroom, and
Yeah.
has its own entrance and everything.
Dude,
And
like I've thought about that. I'm like, if shit hit the fan here, I would just be like, I'm just gonna go take over your basement and I will find a way to be able to pay for it.
you can do yard work. No, I'm just kidding. Oh,
I can learn
jeez.
learn how to garden in Minnesota.
I've been thinking about, so actually, I made a plan for cottage law here. You can make food items without having a like having them come in and check your kitchen and everything, and like making sure
Oh yeah,
without,
California has that too. Yeah.
and you can make over 75, or was it 72,000 a year and still be under the cottage law. So I was thinking of doing that and making pickles, cotton candy, and popcorn.
Nice.
And so I tested out some of the popcorns, and then I learned how to make my own flavors of cotton candy. Um, and it's really simple and fun. And, and I can sell pickles.
Can you make the cotton candy be shaped like teddy bears or something? So like, people get that like
I'll have
that
to practice that.
where they go after the cute, because people
Mhm.
are funny about that, and then they could eat the head of the teddy bear.
I was looking how to make cakes, like cotton candy cakes, but I'll try to figure out how to make faces. The first few will be terrible.
Yeah, those will be the best ones. Those will be the Halloween ones.
Perfect. But yeah, because I have the big cotton candy machine. It's like, and then I have the big popcorn machine. I have a snow cone machine, but I can't really mail that out. So
Yeah. What's the cleaning process for a cotton candy machine?
mine comes all apart, and I can just clean it in the sink, and I just dry it really well. I mean, it's stainless, so it doesn't rust, but I still worry about that. So I just dry it really good after I clean it and just leave them out, all the pieces out, and then put them back together. I make the kids clean it anytime they use it because it gets really sticky if you don't.
Yeah, I can imagine the buildup would be
Yeah.
it'd be
Uh,
worse than pee in a composting toilet.
oh my gosh, I'm sure that's terrible.
Yeah, the like I've been reading. I haven't had issues yet, but the crystallization apparently is an issue. Like it builds up, but I like spritz with stuff, so I think
Yeah.
that's supposed to help keep it from building up.
You also dump yours pretty frequently. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I pee a lot, so all that water I drink, I'm like I filled it up again. God.
But oh, I learned you can actually put Skittles and other candies in the cotton candy machine, and it'll make cotton candy out of the Skittles.
Really? So it like melts it down
Hmm.
and then you get like a rainbow of flavors.
Yeah, it's probably all brown if you I'll separate out the Skittles and do like one flavor at a time.
I once tried. I'm not a big candy person, and I'm very particular about what colors I like, and I like to organize everything and make sure I know how many I have of things before I eat them because I'm fucking autistic. And but I tried once eating one of every flavor of Skittles all at one time, and it was a lot. It was like I was sitting there like chewing it, just kind of like drooling because I was just like, it's so sweet and just so much. So I'm kind of imagining cotton candy tastes like that.
Probably. I mean, cotton candy in general is really sweet.
Yeah, I don't I
Just
don't
figure.
actually like cotton candy or popcorn. I
I
I
I
like
like
pickles, but I can't
popcorn.
eat them. until
I'm
you make me
gonna
some that I
I'm gonna
can.
try. So actually, for you, it's probably this way. I'm gonna try.
I'm up here.
Oh, you're up there.
Yeah.
Hello.
I'm tiny. I don't like to see myself, so I make it tiny.
I'm gonna try to make several different types of pickles, including MCAS safe pickles. Even though,
Are you gonna grow your own
Mhm.
cucumbers? No.
So I'm gonna make a ton of pickles next summer. So this is gonna be a next summer thing. I'm not buying cucumbers because they grow like crazy here if you plant them.
Yeah.
But all along my fence, I'm gonna plant cucumbers and just have at it from there. I'm also gonna grow dill and peppers. You could start those inside before winter's over and then move them outside. And then, so I think those are the things I'm going to grow, or I'm going to research some other things I could put in with them. But so I can make spicy ones, dill, not dill,
MCAS and yeah.
MCAS, vinegar free.
I was reading about just speaking of MCAS because my brain went there. Probiotics that are not histamine activating probiotics. So
Mm-hmm.
eventually, after I get my surgery and all that, I want to try those. Um,
What do they use for them?
they just test the bacteria to see whether or not they trigger like or release histamines or whatever. So it's just they literally just use bacteria that don't cause a higher
Okay.
level of histamine. So it's I'm kind of curious about it because there's a lot of things that we don't really know about like gut flora and like long-term stuff. And I know like if you take the same bacteria over and over and over and over again and you don't eat like enough diverse sources of fiber, your bacteria will be super limited to what you're putting in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other bacterias that are being sustained by whatever you're eating, like what you eat still matters so much more than whatever probiotic you're taking, right? And then like you have to feed the bacteria, you have to eat foods that are gonna because
This feeds it.
so it won't, yeah, so like the bacteria will just starve and die off if you don't eat the right foods. And I don't think there's like enough conversation around that. People think that like taking the probiotics is kind of like a fix. I'm like, but you need to
Yeah.
also you know eat some
They,
shredded wheat or eat some
mm-hmm.
like oatmeal or like whatever, get some spinach, like yeah.
And if you can, for people who can have vinegar, apple cider vinegar is really good for feeding the probiotics.
Yeah, as long as you can tolerate it and your
Yeah.
insides are not. I've read like people that are like, oh, I have really bad reflux, and people come in and say, take apple cider vinegar. I'm like, if you have really bad reflux, you're gonna burn your shit with that. Like, do not. Like, if your reflux is relatively well controlled and your insides are not burnt, then you could try it and
Mm-hmm.
see if it helps. But you know,
What's helped with me, which I hate doing, which I think, so they make these like things that are supposed to be for alcohol shots that you put it in there and then you like drink something else with it and you really just taste the last flavor that comes through. So I'm thinking of getting one of those for this, but when I have really bad reflux, if I drink baking soda and water, but it's so hard to get down.
yeah.
But I think if I do it that way and I don't taste it.
Yeah. Well, mineral water has sodium bicarbonate in it. And if you can just sip on mineral water, you can
Hmm.
get the baking soda in there the same way and not have
Okay.
not have yeah.
Not have PTSD from drinking.
Yeah. And it's a little more gentle because like you do when you do the the baking soda, like you just drink it, it's like you get all the weird burps and stuff like that. And mineral
So
water is
bad.
like way better in general for that.
Okay, I'll drink mineral water. Just don't tell Jordan. Because according to Jordan, I don't drink water.
Mineral water doesn't count. It's
No.
fizzy. Super. I
Not
got I got some at Costco and I don't really have reflux, but I was having all that burning from my gallbladder. So just drinking regular water, which I do all the time, and then drinking a little bit of that like helps a little bit.
I don't tell Jordan that I have a 5 gallon water thing right next to my bed because
You just want to give him something to like worry over you about.
oh, Jordan also wanted to know if we could do an episode all together
I don't see why not.
where I tell you both a story.
Yeah.
I have one I'm
I mean,
writing right
we
now
got
that
it.
would
We
work.
got to We got to meet. I got to meet the Jordan.
Yeah, I know.
Jordan.
The Jordan. But Jordan's never seen Star Wars, Star Trek, or Lord of the Rings.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I don't like Lord of the Rings. Sorry, but I don't.
that's
So,
okay. But you've seen
no.
it.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen all of them. I just couldn't. I saw the first two and I just couldn't. I couldn't do anymore. Star Wars, not a huge. I like the stories in Star Wars. Don't
Mhm.
particularly like the movies. I like the first
I
couple
like
of
the
movies.
I like the shows more than the movies.
I haven't watched any of those, but I don't have Disney, so
Oh yeah, you could
I
use
would watch
mine.
them.
I'll send you my my login information.
And then but Star Trek, that's where I'm at. Star Trek's like my comfort show. Like I like one of the times that I had a really bad flare up with what I now know is my fucking gallbladder. I watched all of the Next Generation and just like because I couldn't sleep, I couldn't lay down. I was just like Picard is like my grandpa.
Okay, Next Generation is my comfort series
I
of
love
Star
Q.
Trek.
I love Q so much.
Yes, uh, uh, I also love Data.
Yeah, also Data, but I think that's the autistic
Yeah.
part of me that loves Data,
So I'm rewatching the Orville now, which I love that show too. Um, it's kind of like a comedy version of Star Trek.
This was Seth MacFarlane,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I haven't watched
Data's in
that
it
yet, but
though. Data's in it.
he's funny. Um, I really loved Deep Space Nine.
Oh, I love
Like,
Deep Space Nine
I
too.
feel like in terms of like all the Star Treks, I haven't finished watching Picard, so I can't comment on that. But all the Star Treks that I've watched, Deep Space Nine had was the most like comprehensive in terms of stories because they got to explore like the cultures and
Mhm.
politics, and so it had like that Babylon 5 vibe to it, and I loved Babylon 5. Like,
And
yeah.
similar with the beginning of Stargate.
Yeah. Oh, Stargate.
Yeah,
I love Stargate.
I love Stargate too. I
I
love
love all
the
the Stargates.
all the Stargates are amazing, but my favorite is when they're just exploring different worlds.
Yeah.
And then it goes into a longer story. But
Yeah.
but I
It
love that.
yeah, although when I rewatched SG1, because I remember the Stargate movie, loved it, and then they came out with a
Mhm.
Stargate SG1, and I was super excited. I was like, yes, we're gonna get to explore like more of this concept. And but the sexism in the
Yeah,
beginning, and they allowed like Carter to like strengthen her character and kind of push back on all that, and eventually they dropped the sexism. But in the first like season or so, it was just really cringe. It's just like,
it
oh,
is.
it
And
didn't age
forced.
well.
It feels forced too. It doesn't even feel like a natural sexism.
Yeah, yeah. It just
Uh,
ugh. But yeah, it's still worth watching, and like all the different cultures that they visit, and
mhm.
this concept of like, and then like the story with like Thor and the Asgard, and like was so
Yes,
sad. It was
yes,
so sad.
yes. Now I have to go rewatch those. I'm almost done with This Is Us. I've been watching it I
uh,
watch like an episode a day, so
Dude, I watched that show in like 8 days, the entire thing. I just like, because I was so sick and I couldn't
yeah.
like, I just like plowed through it. It didn't make me cry though. Just
Ugh, I cry too much.
yeah. I don't know if that means you should watch 6 Feet Under or not, because 6 Feet Under like absolutely destroys me like at the end, like every time. It's like the best
Yeah,
series finale I've ever watched.
I've
Like,
started it a couple of times. I don't know why I didn't finish it, but I do need to watch. I'll cry. It's okay.
yeah. It's like, I don't know. It's just yeah. I just finished two different series that are like on PBS, or like British masterpiece shows, like crime drama. And I don't know like how I act. I just kind of at some point I got into these crime drama shows, and I like them if they're well written for American standards, but I'll pretty much watch anything if it's from another country, like because
Hmm.
they're usually like just generally better written and stuff. Like, so I two of them this seasons or the series just ended, so I just finished both of them on the same day and was like, oh, I have to find new ones now.
I got I got kind of excited about a movie that just came out in theaters. I kept seeing a scene from it on TikTok and I was like, what the heck? What movie is this? But I think, oh gosh, what was it called? No, I looked it up. Where are you? Uh, History. What did I look up? No,
If you looked at
no.
my history, it's gallbladder this, gallbladder that, gallbladder. I can't stop searching stuff even though like I have the information.
Oh, it's called Poor Things. And it's
Hmm.
not in the movie theater here because we only have 6 screens, so we don't play much. But so I have to go somewhere. So maybe when I go out to Sioux Falls on the 10th, I'll go see it. But
what what's it
it's
about?
it's kind of a Frankenstein's monster type concept, but it's more so he creates a woman from himself, I think. And she is trying to figure out how to be human and be in herself and like how to navigate the world. And at first she like her brain isn't really connected to her body, so she's all like awkward.
Uh-huh.
But it looks really interesting.
Did you ever watch Pennywise?
Yes.
Yeah, that was good.
Yes, that was good.
Yeah.
Um, I still need to watch. I still need to get HBO or Max or whatever so I can watch um, uh, Interview with a Vampire.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I only watched the first episode because that was free,
The tease.
and Dexter just because you have to.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
I know. I haven't is it on
I think it's
Max
on
or HBO?
Max. I think it's on both.
Well, HBO is Max now, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it's still two separate things though.
I don't well because the app combined.
Okay, because it said
So
HBO or Max, and I didn't know what that meant.
it's on Showtime.
Oh, Showtime.
I don't
Oh,
have Showtime.
we don't have all these things.
Yeah, I'm like I have because I people give me access to their stuff, so I have access to Max, I have access to Crunchyroll and Hulu and Netflix, and then I get Prime through my Prime thing. Um, and I do pay for $5 a month for access to the PBS Masterpiece because there's just infinite stuff on there. So
There's one that I want that you'd probably like too. Do you like documentaries?
mm, I don't know, not. I like nature shows. I
There's
don't
a
really
lot
like
on there.
documentary. Like I like stuff about
Ah,
space and
I love
dinosaurs.
they have space, so it's all the different things. So they have like space, nature, they have like all the different types of documentaries. It's not just true crime.
Yeah. Because I don't care about people that much. I know it's funny
Yeah.
because I watch a lot of drama shows, but they're fiction. I don't care
Hmm.
about like real people very much. It's just not,
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is I forget what it's called, but it's like it's it's not a lot. And they get like 30 hours of a week new content.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's just documentaries and just but yeah, they have a lot of stuff about space and aliens.
Nice. I I like when I one of my other flares that I had that was real bad when I got like this rocking chair I was like sleeping in. I watched Cosmos like over and over again, like with Neil deGrasse Tyson. And it was like I would like it was really weird because like I would fall asleep and in these short spurts and then like startle awake because of my symptoms. And I would always fall asleep and wake up at the same parts of like the
Oh
episodes.
my,
So I'd wake up
yes.
to the weird like slug things coming out of the ceiling like every single time. I'd be like, what the fuck?
It
Like,
must be some sort of noise that's waking you up. It's
yeah.
like
So weird. And sorry for the interruption, but as I mentioned at the beginning, there is a part one and part two. So join us next week when you can hear the rest of this conversation. Thank you again for tuning in.